He knew she was manipulating him. He knew it 18 months before he left, and he stayed anyway. If you've ever looked at someone you love and realized they were destroying you, but couldn't make yourself walk away, you already understand what this video is about. By the end of this, you'll know why leaving isn't a decision, it's a withdrawal, and why your brain fights you every single time you try. Nathan told his therapist, "I know she's bad for me." His therapist asked when he realized. Nathan said, 18 months ago. He stayed another year after that. Nathan was 34, a high school history teacher. The kind of person who showed up early, stayed late, corrected papers on Sundays. Reliable, predictable, calm. He wasn't looking for intensity, which is usually when people like Rachel appear. She wasn't loud, she wasn't dramatic. She was warm, selectively, and the warmth came in waves. That's the part that matters, not the cruelty, the warmth. It didn't start with a fight, not with a lie, not with a scene. It started with the best 3 months of his life. Rachel remembered everything: his mother's birthday, the name of his dog from childhood, the song he mentioned once in passing on a Tuesday. She played it for him on a road trip. He cried. She held his hand and said nothing. That was the lock. Not the arguments that came later, not the silence, not the nights he slept on the couch wondering what he'd done wrong. The lock was the road trip. Have you ever stayed somewhere, not because of what it is now, but because of what it was once? That's not loyalty. That's a chemical loop. And it was installed before you knew it was running. 3 months in, the warmth became a variable. Some nights Rachel was the person from the road trip, attentive, soft, close. Other nights she was unreachable, cold, present in the room but gone behind her eyes. Nathan couldn't predict which version would show up, so he started adjusting. Cooking her favorite meals, texting less, asking fewer questions. He stopped wearing the cologne she once said she disliked, even though she'd complimented it the week before. He started checking her face before he spoke, measuring his words, editing himself in real time. Shrinking. Not suddenly, not dramatically, the way ice melts. You don't see it happen. You just notice the glass is empty. And here's the part most people miss. It worked. Sometimes. Sometimes the warmth came back. Sometimes she laughed the way she used to. Sometimes she reached for his hand in the car and he felt relief. Not love. Relief. Have you ever felt relief when someone who is supposed to love you simply treats you normally? That's not a relationship. That's a hostage negotiation. Your brain just doesn't call it that. There's a reason Nathan couldn't leave, and it's not weakness. It's not stupidity. It's not even love. It's dopamine. The same mechanism that keeps a gambler pulling the lever. Not the winning, the almost winning, the not knowing. When affection is unpredictable, your brain doesn't lose interest. It becomes obsessed. Nathan described it to his therapist this way. He said, "I keep waiting for the real her to come back." His therapist said, "What if the real her is the one who leaves the room?" Nathan didn't answer. He went home that night and cooked dinner for both of them. He almost left once, 4 months before the coffee cup. He packed a bag, got as far as the hallway, then his phone buzzed. A photo she'd sent from 2 years ago, the road trip, the song. He put the bag down, sat on the floor, and at 3 a.m. that night, he typed into his phone, "Why can't I leave someone who hurts me?" The first result said, intermittent reinforcement. The second said, trauma bond. He closed the browser. He didn't want a word for it. He wanted the road trip back. That's the loop. You don't stay because of the bad days. You stay because of the good ones. Because the good ones feel like proof. Proof that the person you fell in love with is still in there somewhere. You start craving not the person, but the good version of the person. The one from the road trip. The one who remembered the song. Have you ever scrolled through old photos of someone, looking for proof that the good times were real? That's not nostalgia. That's your dopamine system building a case for staying. And every time that version appears, for an hour, for a night, for a single look across the kitchen, your brain floods with relief. That flood is stronger than any steady love could ever be. You feel it as, see, it's still there. We're okay. Your brain translates it as, don't leave. The reward is coming. The relationship becomes a slot machine. And it's not coming. But your brain can't tell the difference.
Nathan's friends saw it. His sister saw it. His therapist saw it. They said, "You need to leave." He said, "I know." And then he went home, and Rachel was cooking. And she smiled at him like nothing had happened. And his brain said, "Reward." Have you ever watched someone go back to the person who hurt them and thought, why can't they just leave? Now you know. They can't leave because leaving doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like withdrawal, like something essential is being ripped away, like the world outside is too quiet, too flat, too still. And the person who hurt them is also the only person who can make the pain stop. That's the trap. The abuser is the painkiller. And if you're watching this right now, and you're not thinking about yourself, but about someone you know, someone who keeps going back, someone who says, I know, but doesn't leave, someone whose voice has gotten quieter over the past year, you're not imagining it, and they need you to not give up on them, even when they go back, especially when they go back. Nathan left on a Tuesday, not because of a big fight, not because Rachel did something unforgivable, because of a cup. She made him coffee, black, no sugar, the way he always drank it and she never remembered. Except that morning she remembered. And he felt it, that flood, that relief, that warmth. And for the first time, he recognized it, not as love, as a pattern. He put the cup down. He didn't drink it. He called his sister at 7:14 a.m. and said 4 words, I need to leave. That was the first decision he made for himself in 2 years.
Nathan moved out that week. He didn't explain. He didn't argue. He didn't give her one more chance to be warm. But here's what no one tells you about leaving a trauma bond. The hard part isn't the leaving. It's the silence after. For weeks, Nathan's body kept waiting for a text, for a call, for the dopamine hit that wasn't coming. He described it to his therapist as a hunger that has no food. He couldn't sleep past 2 a.m. His phone was always in his hand. Not because he expected her to reach out, because his fingers kept opening the message thread on their own, scrolling, rereading, looking for the warmth. His brain didn't care that she was bad for him. His brain wanted the loop. And one night, 11 days after leaving, he sat in his car outside her building for 40 minutes. He didn't go in. He didn't text. He just sat there, engine off, hands on the wheel. Not because he missed her, because his nervous system missed the chaos. If you're watching this and thinking, that's me, you're not broken. You're bonded. And the bond isn't love, it's chemistry. It was installed without your consent, and it can be uninstalled, but not by willpower alone. The most dangerous relationships don't end with a fight. They end with a quiet morning, a cup of coffee, and the realization that the warmth you've been chasing was never real. It was a reward for staying in the cage. And even after you leave, your body keeps reaching for the lock. Not because you're weak, because you're human. And humans were never built to walk away from the thing their brain calls love, even when it isn't. If someone came to mind while you were watching this, there's a reason for that. Nathan's story ends here. But the pattern doesn't end in romantic relationships. It happens in families, between parents and children, where the bond is deeper, where the cage was built before you could talk. And when the person who built the cage is the person who raised you, leaving doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like betrayal.